Falcon Cycles and mountain bike. I got it because it had the brackets for disc brakes, so I knew I could upgrade it in the future. Yes, I had cable brakes on before, absolutely shocking. Made by Zoom, and the pads were about the size of a 5p piece. So no chance of stopping me, that's for sure. Once upon a time it was a 26-inch. It's now a 650B with 48s in there. I don't think it would take 650 or 27.5 with knobblies, because clearance is not great, but it's plenty for gravel tyres and what I do, so it hasn't ever got blocked up. So yeah, quite happy with that, even though it is a bit tight. Got a super cheap crankset. What I like about these cheap cranksets from China is that they are super cheap for a start, and I can use a proper Shimano bottom bracket. A couple of e-bikes. Seeing more and more e-bikes these days on the trails. As I was saying about the brakes, really quite terrible. So I did, when it was still a mountain bike, upgrade them to these Clark M2s, I think they are, hydraulic brakes, and they've been phenomenal. Absolutely, I mean, what a difference, an absolute difference. I've got my tools and stuff on. Well, I've added basically bottle mounts underneath the frame, drilled some holes, put some riv nuts in, and that seems to be holding, so I really like that. Pump, bottle, usual stuff. I've actually moved the bottle down a bit so it clears the bag, so that's nice. And I've got the GRX, well, it's the 2x10 GRX 400, so it matches the 2x10 I've got on the other bike, but I run it as a 1x with a narrow wide, and that's a 38 coupled to a 1140 at the back. Now that's my winter gearing, because I have to say I would have it 1136 at the back, but I've actually got a little bit fed up with spinning out on some of the hills where I'm stamping on it to keep going at the harder gear. So now I've just added a 40, so I can just sit there and spin and hopefully keep a little bit of extra traction. Got this super cheap carbon fork. It's supposed to be a mountain bike fork, so you know, hopefully it's strong enough. It's been so far so good, let's say. Lots of clearance. It is made for a 29, so no problem with the clearance, and of course that extra height does make up a little bit for the loss from the suspension fork. So it's not fully suspension corrected, but yeah, it does help. And unfortunately I had to put this riser stem on just to make it up, but actually there's a good saddle to bar drop, and it matches my other bike very well, so actually I'm really pleased with the way it's turned out. Ritchie Bars, I think these are 42s, plus the flare of course makes them wider when they need to be. The GRX levers marry up to these M2 calipers really well. I mean, it's a really solid feel, you know. Yeah, they do actually match nicely. GRX 400 derailleur, clutch derailleur. Don't know if I like it or not. I think the clutch probably just adds in a bit of extra friction on the change. Yeah, I think my Tiagra is much lighter and more reliable to change, but you know, I've only just put this on, so maybe it's still wearing in, but it works nicely, so not unhappy. M530 pedals, and that's about it really. It does me really well. It gives me an extra option when I'm out on a day like today, where you know I'm not racing at things, and you know I want a little bit of extra cushion in the tyres, and yeah, it's something I do enjoy riding it. It's, you know, obviously not as quick as my other bike, but it's comfortable and very enjoyable.